Hey everybody, it's Mandy Jollis with Motor City Spindle Repair, and I am here today with two of my great friends. We are here with As the Spindle Turns, our podcast, and joining us today on our podcast is Tony Gunn from Fifth Axis Work Holdings. Hi Tony, how are you?
I'm very well, Mandy. And yourself?
I'm good, thank you. And we are also joined by the ever so lovely Lauren
Hey guys.
Lavelle.
Nice to see you all. We're super excited to come up with our third episode here. And who better to start it than Tony with us? So we have a few questions for you pre-written, but if you first want to just kind of talk about what your position is, Tony, and what the company you work for does.
That's kind of detailed. We could talk an hour just about that, I think, Lauren. We all wear a lot of hats these days, right? We're all kind of jumping from, idea to idea and concept to concept. The title itself is International Sales and Marketing, either engineer or executive. You fill in the blank, totally up to you. I have the great privilege to work with, 10, 20, 30 countries around the world and really be a part of this roller coaster ride we're all going through. And as far as understanding how to best market, not just the US, but in all places around the world with, it used to be just the style of the people and how the country itself went to do business. But now we have to incorporate the roller coaster ride of this, great 2020 year that is either complete perfect vision as we used to believe it to be or complete chaos. So this is the ride, and this is kind of what we do, kind of what I do as well. So there are aspects where it'll be, engineering side of things. And it used to be a lot of, face-to-face, sitting on a machine with a customer and figuring out how to make their program work with either the work holding or my previous product line that I worked with, air turbine tools, and a lot of machining and, up to 90,000 RPM stuff there. So it used to be that. And 90% of the year, I traveled around the world to visit with some truly, truly amazing people, which I'm humbled and grateful for. And then within a click of a light switch, we're all working from home remotely, trying to figure out how to do this from our backyards. So
Yeah.
that's the long answer to your question.
Right. Have you found any, hard, like, is it harder working from home? Is it, more distractions? What are you finding for yourself, Tony?
Well, I am a pretty transparent and authentic person. So you get, from me, you're going to get always the honest answers. And I'm going to tell you, as much as I love being home, I live in South Florida and absolutely appreciate that. I'm blocked from the beach and absolutely appreciate that as well. But it's a bit suffocating not being on an airplane every week, seeing the world, right? And I don't mean that as I'm losing my breath, but what a transition it was from, being in India one week and then on the weekend hiking the Himalayas to heading over to Indonesia and then taking the weekend in Bali to being somewhere in Germany and, having a giant stein for Oktoberfest and then doing all of these exhibitions around the world as well and meeting with thousands, if not millions of people. And then instantly behind closed doors, and I get to step outside and lay in my hammock for 5 minutes or go paddleboarding on the beach, but just not the same. And the transition was really interesting.
You just described my actual dream life. So.
Right, I was just gonna ask, can I go in your suitcase when you start to travel again?
I'll even take the hammock. I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah, South Florida sounds great too.
I get that gets brought up a lot. So yes to all of it. You are more than welcome to.
Perfect. We'll be down there in a few hours. Just give us some time. So we kind of want to dive into the industry and specifics and manufacturing. So I'm going to kind of start with some of the questions. If you see me looking this way, friends, that's why. But so you guys are obviously an industry leader in work holding products. So we kind of wanted to talk about how much of your market is selling to CNC machining center end users versus selling to the OEMs or other distributors.
That's a really great question, Lauren. Pre-COVID, I would say a large portion of sales came from working with OEMs, and when they sold a machine, we sold work holding, right? Post, well, that's not all the way post, but I guess during living COVID, we found that a less people are purchasing new machines, though I do see it happening fairly regularly, maybe even more so than a lot of people expected, but less regularly than previous, right? So we're seeing a lot of people take their existing machines and figure out how to do the most with it, how to make it more efficient, more effective. How can I become, more production oriented instead of one-off, one-on pieces type of thing? How can I reduce my setup times? How can I reduce my programs? How can I reduce the overall cycle times? How can I keep the life of my tool to last longer? How can I keep, and to you guys, because you guys do a really good job, how can I make my machine spindle last longer instead of redlining it and breaking it down? And how can I reduce it down by 20%, 25% in the RPM so I'm not breaking it? All of these things are driven toward a budget conscious new situation, right? It's being able to do everything that I can do with what I have, with maybe purchasing products that have ROIs from weeks to months instead of from multiple months to years. So we're all being much more price conscious with that, which is where you guys come into play as well with your spindles and being able to repair them and the free quotes and all that greatness that you guys do up in Michigan as well.
Yeah, and we're kind of taking the same approach. We're trying to market both aspects. Obviously, we're going to be selling to the end user, our repair services, but lately we've been actually putting out a lot of marketing directed toward distributors, and we want to get our foot in the door with the OEMs and the distributing side of it too, because you were right. I mean, it's a crazy time. So we're trying to get our name out there in both ends. And yes, we just Mandy and I put out, I think, just 2 posts in the last couple of weeks, but we've gotten a lot of leads from that. So we're so thankful for that. But yeah, what is the biggest benefit that you've seen with working directly with one versus the other? Have you seen something regarding that?
They definitely both have their benefits. I mean, I love working with both. Distributors have a really large network of people, and typically, for the most part, a distributor carries a lot of products, and so they're not limited by who their customers can be. Occasionally, an OEM will be limited by the machines they sell. Right. So sometimes distributors will have that bit of benefit versus an OEM. But an OEM is typically, and whoever's listening, if you're a distributor, please don't get upset. I apologize. Yeah. Typically, an OEM will come off as more technical, whereas a distributor has so many products and they have to collect so much information that it's more of, hey guys, I have this customer. Here's what they're doing. Can you quote me and help me with some of the backing of the engineering side of it? Where an OEM will lock a lot of that out. And if there are distributors, and I've seen some, they're definitely out there. I've worked with a lot that are extremely technical, so they do exist. But as a general rule, I would find that those are the benefits and downfalls between OEMs and distributors. Do you have a similar perspective, or how does it work for you guys?
Yeah, Mandy, if you want to jump in too, sorry, I keep kind of like,
yeah. It's okay. But, I feel like what you said is accurate. I feel like distributors, because they carry so much product, they're more of like a high level overview to what they're selling, rather than, directly from an OEM. I mean, that's how I feel in every industry. It's like that. I mean, Lauren.
Yeah. And another thing, and I'm, again, not saying any discredit to any OEM people. We all love what you do. Thank you. But what I have found too is that they are so very technical, like you said, and sometimes I hear complaints from customers that they're not really getting that customer service aspect of it a lot of the time, or like just the relationship build, which is not true for everyone, but it's something at Motor City that we like to promote. If you have a broken spindle, you're not only getting it fixed, you're not only getting it rebuilt, but you're forming a relationship to continuously want to come back to us. So we try and be as personal as possible. And through COVID, it's a little hard to get new business, but we want to open up our doors to as many new opportunities as possible. But yeah, so do you have any like favorite success stories during COVID, Tony, that you can kind of brighten our day with, or are you guys just continuing normal operation, or what?
That's a great question. I hadn't thought about that before. Honestly, Fifth Axis, in my opinion, is one of the global leaders in innovation and creativity and marketing. I mean, that's, the guys there, a gentleman by the name of Matt Evans, the owners, Steve and Chris, and we've brought on some new guys as well, Jeff Siebens and Jeff Lanahan. There's a really great mindset of what can we do to create, right? And we heard this story the other day, and this may make sense to you and it may not, but it made absolute sense to me. And I don't remember the specifics of which customers and which companies, but there was a major clothing line that was marketing to a specific generation of people. I love hearing the dogs in the background as we all work from
We're
home. That's
working from
amazing.
home. It's a new time.
I love it. I love it. But there was, some specific marketing going on at one time toward the baby boomer generation. And the reason was because the baby boomers had more people than any other generation, certainly more than Gen X. And all of a sudden, this company that was marketing this clothing line started to lose sales. And it wasn't because of quality, and it wasn't because of, what they were doing with their marketing plan. Their marketing plan was great. However, as the generations started to get older and the product was more derived toward the younger generation, the amount of people in that group weren't looking at that product anymore. So as it transitioned, we transitioned into, a smaller group. However, this new millennial group has more people than even the baby boomers. And I think part of Fifth Axis, what we realize is where we can market, how we can market, what we do to motivate, how can we reduce the fear and the worry from a customer, because that's typically what prevents someone from investing money is, the quality of a product, and make me not be worried that what I'm about to invest is not going to work, right? So if we can do that, then we're creating that confidence that a customer needs in order to move forward with success on their own terms. And yes, it's sales from our end, but ultimately we're looking for success for the customers. This is why we're in the business. This is why people get involved, is because the innovation and the creativity we get to be a part of with all these, tens of thousands of people creating something new, and we get to be on the forefront of this innovation, right? So there's a really long story to your question. So part of what we did recently is we created this 3D compatibility tool. And what this does is it allows a customer to go onto the website and click a few buttons, and they can literally build their machine, their work holding setup on their specific machine, from the machine table all the way up, so they know exactly what they're getting. And then when they design it themselves, they can download that 3D file into over 60 computer formats, CAD CAM formats, like a Fusion 360, and then they can check to see if it's going to crash. So they've done all of the pre-work that they need to do, because we're all stuck at home, without us having to go there and remove that fear and create that confidence. They get to do it on their own, which really reduces the overall time between I'm curious and I need this product. There's that time in between where we're explaining everything, that they can do a lot on their own. And I really think that software upgrade during COVID is one of our biggest successes during COVID. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same for us too. Obviously, we're not creating new software, but we are allowing people to be doing things on their own a little bit more. We can't necessarily we're trying to make as many sales calls as we possibly can, because we feel like obviously getting on the floor is the way to score in our minds. But people need to be able to visually see us and decide for themselves that they want to send us their units. So Mandy and I have really been taking an initiative to really be posting as much as we possibly can and putting out new great content. And we're starting to get more technological behind our content posts. We want to really show all the technicians in the spindle room building things. People like to see, especially in the manufacturing industry, they love to see the visual of what is actually happening behind those doors, more than they want to see the sales people all over their LinkedIn, which they need a balance. But Mandy, do you see it? What else are we doing?
I mean, honestly, we're just really pushing the market. We've been, using other social media platforms as well. I believe, that what we're doing on LinkedIn is working. We've transformed it, as Lauren said. We're getting more technical because, again, people don't want to read sales pitches nonstop all day long. They're going to get bored, and they're going to be like, oh, again. But and changing it up from trying to get people to post motivational, keeping all of our employees engaged, and wanting to do this has been helpful. And I mean, it really is. It's big success on LinkedIn, and I think that that's where we see most of our success right now anyway, on any of the social media.
And away from marketing, COVID actually hasn't been too bad to us. We keep getting work in the door. Just last week, myself and Ted traveled to California, and we're creating a pretty big partnership that if you stay tuned, friends who are watching this, we'll tell you all about. But yeah, we're creating new partnerships. We're getting work in the door. We're actually having some of our busiest months, so we're super blessed to be able to say that. But yeah, it does stem from marketing and getting our name out there. So if anyone needs a CNC spindle rebuild, and I'm your girl.
To your credit, the company as a whole and you ladies have done an amazing job of creating awareness. And I think awareness is the first step. You know, if you're unaware, then it doesn't matter how technical you are.
Right.
But once someone becomes aware, then obviously the technical background is very important. And I think that, you know, Ted has done a pretty daggone good job of creating a name behind the company that says, we're here for you, we're clever, we can do this. You know, we are very advanced in what we're capable of doing with multiple machine spindles up from multiple machines, and you can trust us to take care of you, kind of a thing. So yes, all that technical background is extremely important, but without awareness. So let's not sell ourselves short with all the amazing awareness that you ladies are creating. And I did see that post about that trip to California. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing what comes next from that. I consider Ted a friend, and anything good that happens for Motor City is great for everyone. Because it's companies like this, American companies that are growing like this, that really strengthen the industry as a whole. So I'm very aware and follow what you ladies are up to and what Ted is doing, and I'm grateful for what you're doing as well.
Well, thank you. And we really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else that you would want to kind of put out to the world right now before we end it?
Yeah, well, I'm for better or worse, I'm an extreme optimist. And I always like, machining is what we do. But creating these friendships and networking with all these people is very, very important to me. So a little bit away from machining, I would just want to say to everyone, if you're struggling, keep your head up. We're going to get through this. And if you're not struggling, pick others up, and we're going to get through this together. And let's all be a part of something. Manufacturing allows the world to stay stimulated. So let's keep working, and let's do everything we can. And I know both Mandy and Lauren and myself, if there's anything you need from us, we're happy to help in any way that we can.
And vice versa. We really appreciate the time, and bless you and your company, and hope everything continues to be uplifted throughout this whole new experience for everyone.
Yes.
Exactly. It was really nice talking with you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you both so much. It's a real pleasure. And I think we almost made that 10-minute mark, right? We did a good job.
Look at that.
Jam-packed with information.
I know.
Concise.
Quick.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later. All right.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye.